My name is Terry Hofford, and this is a series of flaws. As part of my mission to normalize normal bodies in the photography industry, I'm going to be focusing on how to help our clients heal their relationships with their bodies by giving them an amazing experience and beautiful images that will help them correlate that this body helped them do something amazing. Most photographers are taught to see their subjects as a series of flaws to be avoided, but I think we can do better. Welcome back to a series of flaws. I'm here with my friend Micah, who you've probably seen in a bunch of my photos and videos and everything. But fun fact about Micah is she actually started as a client, and then I think during your first shoot I was like, your skin is so beautiful, like super creepy, and then I was just like, she very quickly became a muse for me to use for my photo shoot. So I'm very happy that you're able to be here today to shoot again. Of course, we shot a lot of different shit together. Just last week I covered her in paint, which I think is the furthest we've ever gone together.
Yeah.
So, you know, not much is off limits anymore, I think. But it's been like such a delight for me to actually see from when you first came in for your photo shoot to obviously being naked, covered in paint. That was like a huge journey for you.
Oh, for sure.
When was your first shoot? Like 3 years ago, I think?
Yeah.
2017, 2018?
Yeah, beginning of 2017.
Okay, so
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
4? Yes.
Somewhere
like that. Something like that. 3 to 4 years ago. Anyways, and you were still very confident for that first shoot. Maybe you didn't realize that you have like this same thing I tell Jill. She has like when you walk into a room, it's like this confidence that you have. Even if you don't feel it inside, it alerts everyone else that there is a confidence. And that's what I picked up on first. That's why I love shooting you, is because you're like, cool, I'll do whatever you want. I was like, all right. So tell me a little bit about that journey though for yourself and how it's been. What inspired you the first time to do a boudoir session? Like, had you ever been photographed like that before?
No. So the first time I did a session, it was, like most women, it was for a significant other. It was not for myself. And by doing the shoot, it definitely made me realize that, like, no, like, screw that person. Like, this is way for me than anyone else.
Yeah.
Mostly just because of the way that you shoot.
Yeah.
It made me feel more in touch with myself and in touch with my body and
Awesome.
all of that good stuff.
Well, and I think a big part of it is like during the shoot when they're like, oh, it's for my partner. I'm like, oh, they'll just be privileged to see the photos, just so you know. Like, I'm very quick to be like, no.
Yeah.
But also yay, but no.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome though, and I think that doing that first shoot is always like a little nerve-wracking. Now, being somebody that is plus size, like, was that a big concern for you before you came in?
Oh, for sure. I followed a couple other like photographers on social media. But I definitely never saw myself being represented. You know, you see curvy models, and, you know, I followed some curvy models like Ashley Graham, who definitely helped in the industry, but it's not my plus size.
Yeah.
It's tone plus size.
Yeah, and very like hourglass shape.
Yeah.
Very specific. Like, even still, there's still a best way to be plus size.
Exactly.
Like, the curves in the right places, they call it.
Yeah.
And people with tums, we just don't see as much in the industry, like in photography, but also just in media in general. So that was a big concern for you when you did come in to shoot with me?
For sure, because I only recently started following you on social media, so, you know, I saw some of the models that you were working with, but I also didn't want to look too hard because I didn't want to compare myself to anyone else, because that's what I've done my entire life, was comparing.
Well, good that you were aware though that kind of like trips you up. I think like that growth into self-awareness of knowing like, hey, this actually isn't serving me anymore, this behavior or this action or whatever isn't really serving me to be okay with myself, so I need to just not do that anymore. So then let's fast forward, so a few shoots later, and like, we've done so many different things. So what has been like kind of the coolest thing for you in your own growth, like with the shoots that we've done?
Definitely just not caring. And I know that maybe sounds weird, but just, you know, being able to just be totally naked and covered in pains and not care how my stomach hangs or how my breasts hang, because you see stereotypical breasts and they're up and perky, and like mine don't do that.
Most don't. That's the thing, is most bodies don't do that naturally. But it's like that is what we've been seeing right up until really the last, I would say, 3 years. And like this is where I think lots of people are like, social media is bad. I'm like, well, no, it's actually been really wonderful for people that do have marginalized bodies, that we're able to see they're not models made, like models in the traditional sense, or actresses or whatever, but we see bodies like ours doing cool shit. And I think that's really awesome. And I remember the one shoot we did with the flowers in the other studio, and I was like, are you okay if I put flowers in your rolls? And
hesitated slightly.
But I didn't even hear that. You were like, yep. And I was like, yeah, okay, she's totally on board. And then afterwards you messaged me and you were like, that was like, I was a little hesitant, but then I'm like, you were glad that you did that.
For sure.
And those are still some of my favorite photos that I like. Those ones I always share, because they're just like, it's like your body's just being art with like the other stuff in the photo. And I think, and I think that's something that you and I, like working together, have really cultivated, is like, we just enjoy the creative process, and then the outcome is the outcome. Like the photos are awesome, of course, great for social media, but ultimately we like the process of like, let's see how far we can take this, or like, let's see how uncomfortable I can make Micah today, or, stuff like that. But it's with consent. Of course, I always ask first. But I think that's a really important transition that happens. Like, I'm assuming when you first came in for that first photo shoot, it was very much like, about the photos. Like the photos at the end would be the end all, and the process to get there was like, okay, whatever. But then the more you do shoots, and you don't just shoot with me, you shoot with a bunch of other people as well, which is great. That I'm assuming that you started to fall in love with the actual process of just the shooting part of it, and like the adventure of it, and then the outcome was just the outcome. And I think that's something I've been really big on emphasizing for people lately, is like, we need to be focusing on the experience of doing something that scares the shit out of yourself a little bit, like getting out of your comfort zone, and then the outcome is what it is. Thankfully, you do get banging photos out of it. Not to toot my own horn, but to toot my own horn. But I think it's really important that people understand that we've gotten I think as a society, we've gotten very far away from the creative process, and really just like, but do I look okay? And when we focus on that, we don't get the one thing I love about shooting you is you're okay to like get into character, or like and maybe you are thinking about your tummy or whatever, but it doesn't translate on camera for me. Whereas like most people are like, oh, I can't do that, because like they're too busy thinking about how their tummy looks that they won't do the pose or do the thing. And so that's been super fun for me, is that you're like, okay, I trust Terry. Like, it is that trust thing.
100%.
Which I think is where that comes from. So awesome. So what is something that you think photographers should know when it comes to working with like plus size bodies or things like that? Because there's a lot of assumptions that they make. I'm in a lot of photography groups, and it's less than it's been, but it's still not great. When they're like, if somebody coming in that's a size 18, what do I do with their body? Like, and I'm like, it's a body. But as somebody that is a client more so, or on the other side of it, it's easy for me to talk about it. But what is something that you wish photographers would be aware of?
Like kind of what you said, that just because I'm plus size doesn't mean I'm not able to do anything a skinny body can do, or a thinner body can do. Like I can climb on things like that asphalt.
I put her on an asphalt pile in heels. Friends.
I can, sit on my knees. I can, be on my back. Just because I'm bigger and take up more space doesn't make me any less able. Or worthy of showing my body off.
And I think that's a big thing, is a lot of people come in with their own biases, or things that we've been taught in the photography industry, like, we have to, doesn't matter what size a person is, hide their tummy, like that's the initial thing, or make sure there's no double chins, or like whatever. And it's like, but if you have that in your life, like having one photo without it isn't going to be like, I'm a magical unicorn. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, it's just not there anymore. Like, that's not true. So, yeah, so I think it's more like, and probably because I've been able to see your growth through it, part of your body acceptance has probably come from seeing photos of yourself 100%. Where you see cellulite, double chins, rolls, and things like that, and just realizing that is just what it is. It's not good or bad, it just is.
Yeah, like the shoot that you talked about while putting the roses into my rolls, that probably was like the change point on how I saw my stomach, because I did photo shoots with you where it was there, but it was never.
It was more like high-waisted panties.
It was never the focus, right?
No, yeah. I was like, I'm literally getting in here.
Yeah. So being like, oh wow, like that is beautiful. Like that is part of me, and now it is actual art. Like my body is a vase for roses.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to think of it. Yeah. It's like, and I really, I should say the inspiration I got for that is from Suglette. They're an amazing fat activist photographer. They came here and shot in the studio, and it was amazing, and I had a photo shoot. But anyways, so go follow them because they're amazing. But that's where that initial inspiration, like, yeah, like why don't we incorporate like the bodies in nature and nature into bodies and things like that. And I think it was that was really one of the most beautiful shoots I've ever done. So thanks. Awesome. So today what we're going to shoot with Miss Micah, we are going to be shooting on this set. Actually, she's got a beautiful purple set on. What I'm going to be focusing on for the tutorial portion of it is how to shoot dark and moody. So shooting for highlights and backlighting and things like that to help you kind of understand how to achieve that look, just to diversify the different types of light that you can use in a photo shoot. I think it's really important for people to understand when I do client shoots, I like to utilize as many types of lighting as possible because what I like may not be what they like, but it's good to have options. And it helps you see your body in different ways when you see the same pose when it's moody lit as opposed to when it's flat lit. I think it's important to just correlate those two things together. So awesome. Yay, let's get going. Perfect.
Action. Just kidding.
All right, guys, so today I'm going to be shooting with the Canon 5D Mark III, and I have on my Sigma 35 1.4. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to try my best to show you the back of the screen so you can see kind of what I'm looking at light-wise. We're going to try our best. Hopefully it will work. Jill will be over my shoulder essentially, so the audio might get very loud because the mic will be right next to me. But I'm going to shoot on live view just so you can see what I'm looking at. But yeah, and we're going to be shooting on this beautiful set design by yours truly. Actually, perfect. Yeah, perfect. That's great. So I'm going to need to stand facing that way, but I'm actually going to open these curtains a little bit.
This looks so good. Oh my god, yeah, this looks so like, I like the white curtains.
Thank you.
With the set,
each
with the set, it looks so good.
Perfect.
It's a good balance with this set. It looks very
it looks fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you just want to stand facing this way, I'm just going to point out what I'm looking at first. So when I'm shooting this way, what I'm looking for on Micah is how the light falls down her face this way, and that's what I'm going to be exposing for. What that's going to do is make sure this is properly exposed, and this all will fall into shadow to give it kind of a silhouette look, but not like so far that she's just a shadow. Obviously, we want to see her a little bit. So I'm going to try to show you the back of my screen, and we'll see if that works. All right, so stand there facing that way. All right, so Jill, you kind of have to maneuver so you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah. Wait, it has not focused.
So you have to focus on it. There we go. Okay, so you can see it's slightly exposed. I might have to zoom in on this, but see, by me bringing up my shutter speed, the light comes down a bit more. Is it doing it?
It's not, yeah, there it's good.
All right, so when I first started, it was here. You can see it's blown out in the background. But if I do this, and that's literally it. I'm looking for the light, and a lot of people are like, it's so dark. Yeah, that's the point. When you think it's too dark, go darker. That's what I always say. All right, so looking straight ahead there, Micah. I'm gonna take this shot. With your left hand, pull it back just a tickle. Beautiful. I'm used to using my 24 to 70, so I'm like, wait, I have to move with this lens. That's gorgeous. Stay like that. Tilt your forehead to me a bit. Beautiful. Take your right hand now if you can, and we're gonna come to the lip, and you're gonna drag it down. Eyes closed, chin up, deep breath. Arch, arch, arch. Beautiful. That's so gorgeous, and stay right there. That's stunning. Sometimes I just yell at people and it's great. Give me the old pants pull up. All right, okay, so Micah, what I'm gonna get you to do is have a seat on the floor so your head rests back on that cushion. So this is one of my favorite poses to do with everybody. I just love it because this is how we normally sit on couches, right? So look, she goes right into it. I don't even have to tell her. I love her. No, that's okay. You can bring your knees up. That's beautiful. You can actually scooch up a bit so your shoulders actually, yeah. So that way it's not just your head doing the work. Beautiful. Now tilt your head back. Take this left hand and maybe pull at the garter on the thigh. The right hand can come to the lip, and when I start shooting, you're gonna arch up. So again, we're looking for the highlights over her body here. Like, look how beautiful that fucking is. I cannot, but I can because she's gorgeous always. Now drag that left hand down, or right hand, sorry, I lied. Yeah, beautiful, breathing out. Gorgeous, look to the right just a smidge. Beautiful. And now look up at me. Gorgeous. So good. You can relax. But so good. I cannot with this one. All right, perfect. So this is one of my favorite poses to do in my space. So it's important to understand where your light is coming from before you really launch into anything. So for me, in this particular studio, all my windows are on this side and I have a whole wall of windows. So all my light is coming from here, which means everything over here is gonna get gradually darker. Knowing that, I'm able to kind of use the light to paint my subjects a little bit, turn their bodies, whatever I want, to really emphasize their awesomeness. So for this one, Miss Micah, I'm gonna get you to come on over here. This one's a bit awkward to tell people to get into because it's very uncomfortable, and we don't like we don't like things in our space, but you need to get uncomfortable. Well, you're used to it. After last week, everything's good. So we're gonna take your left arm, you're gonna slide it up the wall so it basically tucks your tit into the wall. You're gonna arch your bum back so this leg is straight, this one is bent. Does that make sense? Yeah. Ankles are together. This hand is going to go into the hair like, oh, this wall is just so sexy. You know how you do.
All them sexy walls.
Yeah, them sexy walls. Just get in there. Just lean into it. And then I might say, like, turn your chin slightly towards the window this way. Pull at the strap this way. Pull up at the panty just based on what I'm seeing light-wise. But that's kind of what we're going for there. So slide on in. I'm also going to open these to get a bit more light in. Let the light in. Yeah. Just a little song I wrote, everyone. Beautiful. So that left or right hand, I'll get it. Pulling up the panty. Yes. Chin up, 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 up. Eyes closed. I'm totally in the mirror. Relax your shoulder a tickle. Beautiful. Chin to the window a bit more if you can. That's stunning. And so again, I'm lighting up this part so everything else this way goes into the shadow. Beautiful. Turn your chest to me and tickle. Beautiful. And look towards the window like what's going on outside. Let me fix your hairs. We're gonna zhuzh. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, actually hold that right there. Look towards the window. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Look down to that shoulder one more time there. My favorite was when I had my little cheetah print up there because then it was like, oh, she's the cheetah. Good job. You can relax. This is one of my favorite ones. You can relax a bit there, but I'll just show the light. But I like this because the light is like all on her here, catching all of her beautiful body. But then because I have a darker wall here, it just immediately goes into shadow, which is fantastic. Yay, that's cute. Hold up. Maybe not the phase light. Just bend the elbow a little bit here, maybe pulling up at the panty a little bit. Beautiful, eyes closed. Beautiful. Another good way to shoot this particular pose, turn this way a bit more. So if she was bottomless, we're not doing that because it's YouTube, but if she was bottomless, the couch cuts her off right at the vagine. So this way, nope, keep it down. So this way, it is like a natural sensor. So like, because I rarely show full frontal, rarely, this way it creates that kind of implied nudity with the security being that you're not going to see all the bits. Does that make sense? So you can do this with your right hand here. Let's maybe pull out the strap a little bit. Chin up, up, up. That left hand, bring to the left. You can balance the elbow on the wall if you want so you don't tip over. Yep, beautiful. So just imagine she doesn't have underwear on. Is that weird? Is that a weird thing to say? Maybe. That's okay. Beautiful. And again, you can see where the light is hitting her here and everything else falls into the shadow. Turn your chin towards me a tickle. Beautiful. Bring your chin back actually the way it was, and I'm going to show you guys in the pictures the difference in the light. Perfect. And now bring your chin back to me this way right there. Literally the same picture, just a tiny little change in the face, and the shadow goes away completely. So you want to train yourself to start to see where the light gradient is. And sometimes I just sit in here at different times of day. I know that sounds weird, but I watch how the light changes and I see how it like goes across. This is also why taking self-portraits is really important in your space, so you can, you know, practice on yourself and see how the light is falling first. But it takes practice, but that's the best way to learn how to shoot dark and moody.